Who is dreaming here? Is it the die-hard supporters of Raila Odinga who are closely observing political developments in the country called Kenya? Or is it the youngsters, inexperienced, opportunists, get-rich-yesterday crowd that is supporting President William Samoei Ruto? You tell me, who is dreaming and who is facing reality? Because in this life, reality is not always obvious. Yeah. So would you say Kumekucha Chris is dreaming, has failed to move on, has no idea what he's talking about, is an Azimio blogger, etc., etc.? Yeah, would you say that? Well, I leave the decision to you, because it is your human right to come to a conclusion on your own. And on today's super show, yeah, the first show I'm doing after coming back from a few days of rest with my babies, who are celebrating their first proper Christmas holiday. The other 2 years they missed out. Yeah, their mother was too sick. But I'm happy to report that we had a good time together. Also in prayer. Also thanking Almighty God for what He has done for us. So I am back. Batteries fully recharged to give you nothing but the best in analysis. To do what I was born to do. Now, before we go into today's supercharged show, moto kuliko pasi ya makaa, I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my condolences to all those Kenyan families who lost loved ones over this festive period. Mostly over road accidents, grisly road accidents. My friends, please be careful on the road. The character of a person also shows very clearly in the way they drive. Are you courteous to other road users? Do you show respect to others? Or are you just very selfish on our roads? The way you are in this life? The character of a man or the character of a woman is so important. It can even save your life. Oh yes. There is nothing sadder than a young life full of promise. A life that has not yet fulfilled its purpose and Almighty God being snuffed out on our Kenyan roads. Please be careful. Na hata kama umesoma namna gani, don't ignore the spiritual, because it is more real than the physical. Oh yes. Kuna watu wabaya ambao hupenda kuvuna damu ya watu wakati huu wa sikukuu. Tafadhali jihadhari. Pray a lot. It's important. Now, for those who have no idea what I'm talking about, I've done quite a number of videos on this channel about the spiritual aspect of our Kenyan roads and why what happens. Especially these things called freak accidents, freak road accidents. I'll put a link in the description area below. You can take in those videos if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Right! Twende kazi. When Raila Odinga, the Azimio leader, gives an interview to a TV station, he usually has something to say. He usually has a very important message to deliver. And his most recent interview, 2 days ago, had a very important, extremely important and critical message to deliver to his supporters and to Kenyans in general. And that is what my show is about today. By the way, on the issue of who's dreaming and who's not dreaming, not Alice in Wonderland, but Muende in Wonderland, or Musioka in Wonderland, whatever name you want to use. Stay with me on this show, and towards the end, I will give you a big hint that will enable you to make a decision immediately. If you're not sure as to who is dreaming and who is closest to reality. Now, the big breaking news in Raila Odinga's interview with Citizen TV was something completely new in our politics, which Raila is calling a full audit of the 2022 presidential elections. A full audit. Now, what is that? Now, to answer that in a very simple manner, I need to ask you a question. What happens in an organization, maybe where you work, when you hear that the auditors are around? What happens? Usually, most people go into a panic. And this includes people who know they have done wrong. They've fiddled around with company funds here and there. But it also includes people who are completely innocent, who fear that something they did was unprocedural. It was not according to procedure. And therefore, of course, they're fearing consequences. In short, watu hupata shida ya tumbo wakisikia auditors are around. Yes, your figures add up, your accounts are up to date, kila kitu iko sawa. However, when the auditors come, more often than not, they will find a few things that are off. What were these funds used for? Who approved the use of these funds? Why did it cost so much? Etc., etc. Now, coming back to politics, the election results, the sums, seem to add up. The Supreme Court told us they add up. They make sense. This plus that is equals to that, which is over 50%, or rather is 50% plus 1, according to the requirements of the Constitution, to declare somebody duly elected as POC, President of the Republic of Kenya. Now, when the auditors come in and look at those figures, chances are that they're going to find a number of very dodgy things. Keen observers of Kenyan politics who followed the last elections already know well in advance that they'll find a lot of very dodgy things which don't make sense. The sums add up, but how did this happen? How was this figure arrived at? Why is this figure such a huge percentage of the registered voters in polling station X? How come the numbers in this particular area of Kenya are so high, and yet we know from pictorial evidence, video evidence, that the turnout was low? doesn't make sense, etc., etc. Raila said a full audit will be done of the 2022 presidential elections. Now I can hear somebody telling me, Chris, come on, move on. Audit kitu gani? The train has left the station. We have a president. We have a government which is working, etc., etc., etc. I hear you. But I need to remind you of something that you already know. When auditors come into a company, sometimes what they find has caused the entire management team to be fired. That has happened so many times. The train has left the station. The management team is in place, very competent. Kila mtu ako na makaratasi. Some even have PhDs in their field. Very qualified people in the management team. Very impressive CVs. But after the auditors finish their work and hand over their report to the boss, let us come flying in thick and fast. CEO, kwenda nyumbani. Chief Financial Officer, kwenda nyumbani. Marketing Director, go home and don't come back. We've seen that happening. Remember that in the heat of a presidential election, nobody has the time or inclination to look too closely, beyond just the numbers, to look too closely at what the numbers are saying and where the numbers came from. Because as things stand, we know that the only person who knows where the numbers came from, with authority, is the former IEBC chairman who has already left, a man called Wafula Chebukati, who went home to rest on the morning the election results were announced. He said he was tired. And at that time, 30-something constituencies had not been announced yet. But when Bwana Chebukati came back at 3 in the afternoon, he said he had the results with him. Where did he get those results? Maybe when he was having a nap, he had a vision, a dream, and he wrote it down. So and so, so many votes. So and so, so many votes. And that is what he presented as the results. It would seem that that is what happened. Because he left the results being tabulated in the office and went home to rest. But when he came back, he said with confidence that he had the results. Sio ilikuwa tu vision. No, tell me, where did those results come from? Even if the train has left the station, if the results are not correct, they can never be correct just because the train has left the station. Never ever. Surely a full audit of the results will expose everything. And remember, and I'm guessing here, that these people are going to do the audit already have in their possession what people are calling the real results, okay, which was somehow retrieved from a server. People who understand IT will tell you that that is no mean feat. Retrieving results from a server controlled by people who are reluctant to release information that really belongs to the public, to the people of Kenya, not even to a public company or enterprise, the people of Kenya. And so, in my opinion, that should make the work of those auditing even easier. And of course, UDA supporters need not worry, because if they won the election genuinely, and they're telling us they won, they have nothing to worry about. The auditors will reveal the truth. How they won. How they beat the political juggernaut that is Azimio and Raila Odinga. The truth from the auditors should show us that very clearly. So there's nothing to worry about. If they're worried, if UDA people are worried, and if they're making some strange comments, defensive comments, at the results tally, or where's the evidence, then all Kenyans need to be worried. Yeah, because that would suggest that what has happened here is massive fraud against the people of Kenya. Criminal fraud. Yeah. Indeed, Raila Odinga in his interview said that the IEBC chairman who oversaw those elections should be in jail. Not receiving awards on Jamhuri Day, yeah, the highest award that any civilian Kenyan can get. No, that should never have happened. According to Raila, they belong only in one place, jail. And if indeed that is going to happen, then we can guess it will emerge from what the auditors find. Because auditors don't operate on hearsay. Auditors operate on evidence. Receipt iko wapi? Ndio hii. Expenditure iko wapi? Ndio hii. Bank slip iko wapi? Ndio hii. Checkbook slip iko wapi? Ndio hii. They put all that evidence on the table. And they say, here is a problem. The person responsible for that problem was so and so. Ita yeye hapa. Sasa wewe utaenda nyumbani. But our strong advice is that you also find a very good lawyer. Because there's some gentlemen waiting for you at the reception. As you leave, they'll ask you a few questions. Now it is important we take note of the fact that this interview by Raila Odinga is Raila Odinga speaking for the first time after his return from the United States of America. And before Raila left, he told us, Biden ameniita, the president of the US, requested his presence, yeah, for a meeting. But we know that whatever happened in the United States of America, whatever happened in Washington, D.C., is not normal. There were no photographs of Raila with Biden. None at all. There's no evidence that the two gentlemen even met. So what happened? Huh? Nini ilifanyika huko? Then another telltale clue. During his interview with Citizen TV, Raila said he has been telling diplomats. Huh? Diplomats? Why would Raila be speaking to diplomats? Diplomats are representatives of various different countries in Kenya. Why would he be speaking to these people? Second question. He's speaking to these people as who? Yeah, he doesn't have any official government post. So why was he speaking to them? That's another telltale clue that things are not what they may seem. Clearly. Now, while following that same train of thought, I usually make predictions before the new year. Every year, I'd like to take this opportunity to make my 2023 prediction. And it's very short, simple. 2023 is going to be an extraordinary year. I believe with all my heart that in 2023 will come full circle concerning the prophecy, the overturn prophecy. Overturn, overturn, overturn. Until he comes, whose right it is. Until next time, this is Chris. Kumekucha.